I just did a test, a speed test, and it looks like the internet is okay.
Okay, that's weird. Hmm.
Could be a Zoom problem.
Yeah, maybe a Zoom problem. You're right. Um, let's try to get through this, and if we have to, do you guys use Skype?
I have a Skype account.
Okay, yeah, maybe if Zoom keeps giving us issues, we can try Skype.
Or
Um,
how about Hangout? There's a screen share in Hangout also, right?
okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, Thea, glad you're on the mic. So back to the question. What is a robots.txt file?
It is a text file that the website use for search engines to crawl on your website.
Okay. So yeah, very good. So what's in that text file? Like, it's like, what do we put in it?
Information about your website, like
Yeah.
your link.
Yeah, so I'll help you out there. So basically that text file is going to be instructions to as you said, to the search engine crawlers to tell them exactly how to crawl the website. So if there's a particular page or pages on our site that we don't want crawled, maybe we're still working on them, we're still putting together some content on them, or maybe they're not meant to be accessible to the public, then those are pages that we would tell uh, the search engine crawlers in our robots.txt file not to crawl, not to index. So that's just one example. There are some examples. Let's say if you have like a login page, sometimes those login pages can be indexed in Google, but really there's no reason for them to be. So you want to make sure that those aren't crawled. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So next, we talked a bit about local SEO, and we had a saga with Joy's singing school about her having a singing school and trying to get more customers and more people to work with in her singing school. Now, local SEO is an approach where you focus all of your optimization on a defined geographical area like a city or region. So kind of going back to Joy's singing school example, she will only be interested in working with people locally because she works with people in person, and it wouldn't make sense for her to target people in other cities or other countries. So the big focus for local SEO is relevance, proximity, and prominence. So relevance, so making sure that whatever you offer, whether it's singing lessons, whether it's cooking lessons, whether it's photography services, making sure that you're targeting the relevant keywords for those services. Proximity. So if I were to look for a singing school here in my hometown, I would get completely different results than if someone was looking in your city. And so that's really how local SEO works. It's only going to return results that are in proximity to where you're searching from. So let's say you took a trip somewhere, maybe to, what's one place you really want to go?
Korea.
To where?
South Korea.
Oh, okay. Get some K-pop going on there.
Everyone wants to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's say you travel to South Korea. So when you try to search, so let's say you hit the ground from the airport. Let's say you try to search for something. Even though your phone was set up in the Philippines, you're still going to get those results that are relevant to South Korea and wherever you're at in South Korea. So proximity, it changes based on where you're located. And then prominence. So prominence comes in different forms, but just in a nutshell, you want to make sure that your business is prominent online. So you want to make sure, of course, that you have a website. You want to make sure that you have a Google My Business profile. You want to make sure that you have profiles like a Facebook business page, a LinkedIn company page, and really there are a ton depending on which country that you're focused on. Now, local SEO, this is not something we talked about specifically for brass animals, but it might be a good strategy because brass animals, you guys are targeting different cities in the US, so you want to make sure that you're doing some local SEO for those different cities. So making sure that you have a Google My Business profile for San Francisco, but you might want to have a different profile for Chicago and a different profile for New York City. This will help you to be more relevant locally. So any questions on local SEO? Okay. So moving on. So question for the class, when would you use a local SEO strategy?
When?
Yeah, like which, what situation?
If you're targeting a specific location, like
Right,
a specific.
exactly. And just to add on to that data, so they're usually more geared towards if you have like a physical business. So just take the example of like a pizza shop. Like you go there, you eat pizza, they're in an actual physical building. Compare that to, if you were doing like a SEO agency or a lead generation agency where you guys might not have a physical location where clients meet you. You do all of your communication online. So in those cases, local SEO probably wouldn't be the best fit. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And so we already talked about some of these, but just to go over them, authority. So making sure you have authority in your niche and in your area. You want to make sure that you're keyword focused. So let's say if for brass animals, we wanted to improve our local visibility for New Orleans brass band, then you would put something like San Francisco brass band or San Francisco New Orleans brass band. You want to make sure that's your keyword, your primary keyword. Presence and consistency for name, address, and phone data. So you want to make sure that your business name, your business address, your business phone number, and even in some cases, your business website URL and your business zip code is the same across the web. So what that means is that you don't want to have one phone number on your website and then have a different phone number on your Facebook page. That's confusing, right? Because if a customer comes to your Facebook page and it's the wrong number, well, they're going to be a little irritated. They might just, find another business to work with. So we want to make sure that's consistent across the board. Google My Business optimization. So your Google My Business profile, you want to make sure that you have really good pictures. You want to make sure that you have really good video, and you want to make sure that you are targeting your keywords and categories. Presence of high quality citation. So again, making sure that you're present on websites like Yelp, present on websites like Yellow Pages, Facebook, Bing. You want to make sure that you have these different citations for your business. Website user behavior. So when someone comes to your website, Jarek, and they leave after 5 seconds, what does that tell you?
What?
So if someone comes to your website and they leave like after 5 seconds, what does that tell you about your website?
It's crappy.
Yeah, it's crappy. You have some work to do, sir. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're doing different things to make your website user friendly. So make sure that it loads quickly. Make sure that if someone's looking on their mobile device, everything looks good. Make sure that you have good content. You don't want to have something that's not very interesting. So for Jared's example with the photography, his big focus should be having really nice looking photographs. That's going to capture someone's attention and entice them to stay longer. And then finally, business reviews. So if you guys ever try a new business, you probably if your friend or family member didn't tell you about it, you probably might go online to look at the reviews. Because what's worse than spending a Friday or Saturday night going somewhere and the food sucks or it's just not a very good business. So you probably want to make sure that you do that review, make sure you're getting these reviews for brass animals as you move forward for the different locations. And social media signals. So did someone read about Daya's lead generation business, and maybe she put out a good blog article about what are some things to focus on for lead generation in 2019? And so she shares it on her Facebook business page, maybe on her personal profile, and then her friends share it, and then their friends' friends share it, and then it becomes viral. And then as soon as you know it, Daya has the biggest lead generation business in the Philippines. So that's a crazy example, but that's the impact that your social signals can have on your business. So make sure that you are putting some effort into your social media. So another question for the class: what is link building?
It's the link that you put on a keyword.
A little more specific. Anyone want to help her out?
What is link? You use it when you want to put backlinks to your website.
Right. And so someone else besides Daya, why do you want to build links to your website?
To add traffic to your website.
Very good. That's one reason to boost traffic for your website. What's another reason why you want to build links?
To make your website visible.
Make your website visible? Yep. So, and I'll kind of add some more to that, Jarek. So when you build links to your website, it is a strong ranking factor. And so if you get good quality backlinks, it's going to help your rankings, which will help your visibility. So, but good starting point. All right. I think Jenna and Joy might have something extra to add. I'm sorry, not Joy, Jonah. Jonah and Jenna, I think y'all might have something extra to add.
Okay. To improve search visibility.
That's what Jarek just said. It's your own answer. Do you have anything, Jenna?
To get more click through
To get more click-through rate.
Not quite. So it won't help with your click-through rate. So I'm going to help y'all out a little bit here. And actually, we can just go to the next slide. So backlinks, they're an important part of an effective SEO strategy. They connect content. So they're kind of going along the lines of what Jarek mentioned. They help build your influence online. So any website, regardless of the industry or niche that you're in, a key factor to your success is able not only to get traffic, but to build your audience. So people who come back week after week to read your new content or see your new photos or see what you're up to as a business. That's a key factor to success. It's a major ranking factor for the search engine algorithm. And then I think one thing that you all missed on is it does transfer authority and trust. So let's say Daya, going back to Daya's lead generation website, let's say she writes or someone on her team writes a really good article on how businesses in the Philippines can get more traffic, more leads in 2019. Let's say it's picked up by the Manila Times. Well, that's going to transfer a lot of authority and a lot of trust to her website, because the Manila Times is a very high authority, highly visible publication. So everyone clear there?
Yes.
Okay. So far we've talked more so about external links. So when another website links to your website, but can someone help me out with what are internal links?
These are links.
Someone just said it.
Pages on your
Jonah, link to your own website.
Right, exactly. So basically, internal link, you have a page on your website and you link to another page on your website. So pretty simple there. So next question, what is anchor text?
Anchor text is the word you put to the link.
Yeah, pretty good. So yeah, it could be a word, it could be a phrase, but you always know what the anchor text is. It's going to be the phrase or word that is highlighted. Usually it's going to be in that bright blue color. But that's the anchor that link is using to another page or to another website. So very good. So just some considerations for anchor text. And you can be more aggressive with internal links because it's your own website. But when you're going out and building backlinks for the Brass Animals website or for any other website, you want to make sure you use a mix of different anchors. So branded terms, so example of a branded term would be the actual company name or a variation of the company name or the CEO's name. Those are all branded terms. Naked URLs, so this is the actual URL of the website. So for Brass Animals, it would be, one variation would be www.brassanimals.com. That would be your anchor text. Partial match keywords, so let's say if our primary keyword is New Orleans Brass Band or San Francisco New Orleans Brass Band, maybe a partial match keyword would be something like San Francisco New Orleans Wedding Brass Band. So, something that's related, but it's not the same as our exact match keyword. And then finally, our exact match would be our primary. So New Orleans or San Francisco New Orleans Brass Band. Any questions there? Okay. So content and SEO. So content is king. Pretty much it allows you more opportunities to target keywords. Content can help with social validation. So if you're putting out really good content and people are sharing it or retweeting it or whatever, it validates that you know what you're talking about and that you're an expert in your field or niche. High quality backlinks, they're more attainable, more easily attainable with good content. People usually don't want to link to services pages or pages where there's commercial intent, where you're directly selling something. They are more open to linking to content where you're providing good information, you're helping someone solve a problem, or you're entertaining someone. So that's why it's very important that you blog and that you put out really good content. And then content is just needed for higher search engine rankings. It's much easier to rank when you have content that targets different keywords and that you're not only targeting primary topics, but subtopics as well. So any questions there? No? Okay. So when you're writing your content, and this is a trap that you don't want to fall into, you want to make sure that you're writing for your audience. So Jarek, on his website, he can talk about what he finds interesting in photography all day long, but if the majority of people don't find that interesting, well, they're not going to come back to his website. So you want to make sure that you know if you're looking to get traffic and grow your traffic to your website, you need to know the type of issues, the type of content that your audience wants to read about. So that goes back to our customer avatars. And then you need to make sure that you write that content in a a well-received way. So make sure that it's easily readable and that it's entertaining and interesting. So any questions there? No? Okay.
Just have one.
Yep.
What is more advisable to use, content-centric or audience-centric?
I didn't hear the second part there. Can you repeat that?
I mean, which of the two is more advisable to use when creating content?
Definitely audience-centric. That should be your primary focus. So Dea, we talked a bit about K-pop. So you're a K-pop fan. You know what people want to hear about or read about, right? And I'm sure some of your friends they're also K-pop fans, and that's your target audience. So your friends would be your customer avatar. So you want to write about new stuff that's going on, not stuff that maybe happened 10 or 15 years ago, because people probably wouldn't find that as interesting. Does that make sense? Okay, good. And then really good content is all about planning, and you do that with an editorial calendar. So making sure that ahead of time you know what topics you're writing about, you know which keywords that you're targeting, and even secondary keywords that you're targeting. You know the type of content. So it's not all about blog posts. Maybe some, depending on the nature of your business, you might want to do an infographic or a video. For Brass Animals, video might be a really good type of content because people want to see your band perform. That's one way they know if you're good or not, right? So you want to make sure that you figure out what your audience will want to see and create the different types of content that matches their needs. And then finally, you want to have some type of scheduled publish date. And so this is more than anything is to keep you accountable. So if your goal is to have a new blog article once per week, well then set every Friday you publish a new blog on your website. That will just help you stay accountable and help you reach your content goals. And then you want to plan individual content assets. So you want to spend some time brainstorming. So figuring out what are some good angles to approach the topic on. Maybe you want to, going back to Dea's K-pop example, maybe you want to chat a little bit with your friends to figure out kind of what, interests them, what has interested them, what recently has interested them in the K-pop scene. Are there like new underground groups that no one's really talking about that you could, be the first to feature? Those are the types of things you want to think about. And then you also want to use outlines. So this really just helps organize your content and makes it flow from point to point. So make sure that you're doing all of that when you're planning your content. And then finally, we've already talked about SEO optimization, but make sure that you're optimizing and using good SEO standards for your content. And then, of course, you want to promote on your social channels. So 20% of content is actually writing it and producing it. 80% is promotion. So if you have a video, make sure that it's on your YouTube channel. And then once it's on your YouTube channel, make sure that you're sharing that YouTube video on your Facebook, on your business page, on your LinkedIn. Wherever you can find your audience, that's where you want to promote. Any questions there? Okay. And then that kind of just goes with our next point here, social media. So SEO, as Jarek mentioned earlier, it's more about visibility. So how can you make your business and your website more visible online? And social media is one way to do that. It helps boost your brand awareness. Your social media profiles, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Yelp, all of those, they can also rank very well in the search engine rankings. When people share your content, that spreads your brand to people who have never heard about you. So that's one way to drive new traffic to your website. And social media channels are search engines too. So let's say someone was looking for a lead generation company in your area. Well, Dea, if you're doing a good job sharing your blog post, sharing your content on your Facebook, and someone's searching for that on Facebook, then they're probably going to find you, and that's a great, new prospect for you to close on to become a new client. So that's just another reason why you want to optimize for social media in addition to your website. And then, of course, let's say you have a small team. Maybe you don't always have time to be active on social media. There are different tools that you can use, like Hootsuite or Sprout Social, where you can set up to where a new Facebook post goes out every day for a month. And you don't want to just leave these on autopilot. You do want to manage them somewhat, but there are tools out there that will help you do this more efficiently. So next we talked a bit about competitive analysis. So using competitive analysis to gain an edge over your competitors. Now, Jenna, can you tell me why it's important for your SEO campaign to look at your competitors, see what they're doing?
More good strategies.
Yep. So yeah, you know what strategies they're using. And if you're able to re-engineer what they're doing and then figure out how to do it better, well, that's a recipe for success for your SEO campaign. And not just SEO, just marketing in general. If you're running paid ads for your client or for your business, and you look at the ad copy of other competitors, and you know a way to make it better, make it a little more click worthy, then that's one edge that you gain over your competitors. So just some specific things that you can gather from doing competitive analysis. You can get some guidance on landing page copy. So if it's a big business and they're making a lot of money from their website and they're converting people, you can be sure that they have done some testing, they've done some research on the sales copy that they're using on their website. So instead of you reinventing the wheel and trying to figure out what phrases, what points will really work, go ahead and use, take a look at what they're doing and figure out how to do it better. You can get a better understanding of how content is used. So if we find that for Dea's lead generation business, if her competitors are using ebooks as a way to build their email list, well, that's a good signal to Dea and her team that that they should also probably be using an ebook to capture prospects' emails. So make sure that you understand how they're using content. You gain more clarity on what is working and where to prioritize your efforts. So you never want to stretch yourself too thin, especially if you have a small team. So if there's a certain area or a certain strategy that's going to give you 80% of the results, then that's where you want to spend the majority of your time on. And so if you look at what your competitors are doing and what's working well for them, you'll have more clarity on where you should be spending your time. And as Jenna says, it helps you uncover strategic advantages. So what are some things that you don't know, but you can just kind of copy from your competitor and to put it to use for your website? And then one more point on this, we talked a lot about competition, but if you know of any company who's killing it in marketing or SEO, doesn't even have to be your direct competitor. You can take what they're doing. So let's say, Facebook videos are really big right now. Not just Facebook videos, but Facebook Live videos are really big right now. So instead of, if you find that none of your competitors are doing that, but you see it working very well for companies outside of your industry, Well, be the first. Don't be afraid to be the first to apply that strategy to your industry or even to your location, because you can be the first to do it and see really good results. And so what exactly are you looking at when you're looking at your competitors? So you want to look at their on-page SEO, their technical SEO, off-page SEO, specifically which websites are they going to get backlinks from. And so when we go over Ahrefs in the third part of this session, we're going to go over how you can do that exactly. And then content analysis. So again, what topics are they writing about? What are some of the key points that they are leading with in their content? Those are all good strategies to use for your own website. And then probably, one of the most important areas to look at is target keywords. So what keywords are they targeting, and what categories are they targeting as well? So again, this is something that we can use tools for, and that we'll go into a little bit later. And then finally, and this is something we went over last week, assessing your SEO campaign. So how do we know if what we're doing is working? So, and I'll open this up to the class. What are some metrics that we can look at to measure the performance of our SEO?
Google Analytics.
Yep, so that's the actual tool that we will use, Dea. Very good. But what are some specific metrics? And last week we called them KPIs that we can look at.
Bounce rate.
Bounce rate, very good. So bounce rate is an engagement metric. I want everyone to get one here. So Dea, she already got one. What about you, Jarek? Anything from last week you remember?
Average time on site.
Average time on site, okay.
Average page per session.
Average pages per session, very good.
New visitors versus returning visitors.
Say that one more time. I think, was that Jonah?
New visitors versus returning visitors.
Very good. So who hasn't gone yet? I'm looking at you, Joy.
Are there more? We only have 4.
Yeah, there are quite a few more actually.
Domain authority.
Very good, domain authority. So over time, what should happen with your domain authority, Joy? Over time.
What's the question?
Yeah, so over time, and this one is for Joy. Over time, what should happen with your domain authority?
It should increase.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so I just want to make sure we list all of these out. So we have our primary KPIs, and then we have our secondary KPIs. So primary, these are the more important. Joyce mentioned one, domain authority. But I would say out of all of these, your ROI is probably the most important, right? Any marketing, whether it's SEO, whether it's social media, whether it's pay per click, you want to make sure that you're actually making more money than you're spending on your marketing. And this might not happen right away, but over time, you should see a positive ROI on any marketing efforts that you're doing. So in our second column here, we have secondary KPIs. And these are important, but not as important as everything on the left-hand column. And these are more engagement metrics. So let's say you've already have the ROI that you're looking for.